Dirty Dean.
All right. Good evening, folks. This is the Monday Night Rule of Law radio show. I am your host, Eddie Craig. It is May 13th, 2013. And, folks, I want to tell you, we need some people in our Sunday class. I know the weather's turning warm and beautiful and all that, but we are getting so much practice in, it's not even funny. And the people that are coming to the class right now are actually starting to realize just how much of a learned skill going to court actually is. This is not something you're going to do perfectly anytime, much less without practice. Even attorneys don't get it right every time they step into court. Very few ever have those days where everything goes right. And those are people that know how to direct what they want in the direction they need and want it to go. But right now, we have too few people coming, which is to say we don't have nobody coming, but we could always use more. Like I told some folks yesterday in the class, the reason I chose the transportation issue to go into and to teach people about is very simple. It involves every area of law that you can get into. It's got both civil, it's got both criminal, it's got both court argument and paper writing and everything, research requirements, everything you would do in the world of law, you will do in this particular arena. But it is also in this particular arena where the very basis used to create every other oppressive system of licensing and permitting and everything else began. It is in these places, dealing with transportation, where commerce reared its ugly head and became a method of controlling the masses through misdirection and misperception. This is where everything starts. If it was based on Darwinism, this would be the primordial sludge pool from which all other oppression sprang. Okay? When it comes to these particular onerous methods of fining and taxing and stealing from everybody. So, if you think that you can do this without practice, without learning the skill, then you haven't actually tried. I've had people the last few weeks come to class that have studied the scripts inside and out. They can sit there at the beginning of class and quote them line by line. And then the moment the role play begins, their mind goes completely blank. Their ability to remember what they were supposed to say goes right out the window. And now they're sitting there like a brick getting hammered. It takes practice, not just reading, not just walking up and down in front of a mirror, though that beats nothing. It takes live practice to develop. Okay? You will never learn to ride a bicycle by riding a stationary exercycle. They look the same, they operate more or less the same, but one has a completely different set of circumstances and requirements to produce the desired result than the other. And that, folks, is where most people fail to distinguish when one becomes the other, or when they look similar but aren't. And this goes to the whole heart of the transportation matter. Our car looks very similar to the same things they use as motor vehicles. Our going to and from the store looks very similar to those in commerce that drive for a living. It's basically the exact same activity minus the private gain potential opportunity, and desire. So again, what is the maxim of law that says something similar is never the same? Nowhere is that more true than when it comes to transportation versus not transportation. Okay? Our right to travel to and from as a measure of our liberty and an ability under our liberty can't be licensed, it can't be permitted, it can't be regulated except as to our behavior toward other people exercising their rights as well. We cannot use our cars to cause injury to others, but that does not give the state the right to step in and say, in order to ensure that you don't, we will safeguard you all by only letting those to whom we grant permission, the way we want you to do it, do it. Oh, by the way, this service we're providing, you must pay us fees in each and separate way that we wish to ask for them in order for us to assist you in this matter. And it doesn't matter that you want our assistance or not. This is a service we will provide whether you like it, whether you want it, whether you need it or not. Well, big surprise. At least there, Mark Stevens has the very right idea. No service should be compelled at the barrel of a gun. And that's what most of government has completely forgotten that it actually is. It's a service industry. It's freaking McDonald's and Burger King. If I want my Whopper without pickles, you don't get to arbitrarily declare we only make them with pickles, and you'll like it and love it when you order it. Not if you want my business. But at the same time, Burger King can't give me food today and forbid me to go to McDonald's tomorrow, provided, of course, you're into eating either of those highly dangerous chemical compounds they call food there. But just for example purposes, that's what we're going with. Especially considering here in America, they're probably two of the most recognized symbols in the entire country. Not only on the sign, but hanging under the belt loops of everybody that goes there. America, pay attention. When you can walk down the sidewalk and leave footprints, something's wrong. Stop eating this junk. There are more things for you to put your mind into than sitting in front of the boob tube, getting suckered into thinking everything is okay, or the Giants won't win if you're not watching. Who cares? You know, say what you will about the Bible, but in the Bible it makes it very clear for those that wish to become adults. When I was a child, I indulged in childish things, and when I became an adult, I gave up the childish things. What in the hell do you think these sports team addictions are, if not childish things? Grown men getting paid millions of dollars a year to play a freaking game. Oh, well, I got to get paid that much money. My career could be very short. I may only get to be a professional athlete for 5 or 10 years before an injury or old age kicks me out. Well, let me bring you a little reality break. A soldier's life could be as long as 1 minute. You don't see him with a multi-million-dollar contract to give his life so you can play your sorry damn game. We have firemen that risk their lives that don't get million-dollar contracts, even though every time that alarm goes off in their station, they may not come back. Their career is over. Their family's left alone. The difference is their family doesn't have him at all. Whereas the professional athlete's family now has to listen to him cry and moan and groan about his could-have-beens and should-have-beens and how he should have got a bigger contract so that now, since his leg is broken, he can't play no more. He can't afford the $10 million house he bought on credit he never should have got. We need a real reality break here, America. Our priorities and our desires for what we need versus what we want are completely unrealistic. We reward the idiots. We punish the heroes. I realize I've taken a big swing in subject matter here, but one thing kind of leads to the other on this show from time to time, and I don't always get to control where it goes. But the fact of the matter is, if you can refute anything I said about this, hey, feel free to call in and argue with me. I like argument, at least as long as it's productive, okay? But I'm warning you, I don't put on the kid gloves because you're a liberal, if you happen to be. And I'm not going to pull punches when I tell you what I believe to be the facts of a matter or the truth of a matter is. I don't care if you like it. I've never cared if you liked it, because nobody likes to realize that everything they've ever learned is a lie. But that's my job. You wanted truth in media? Well, here it is. I'm not going to stop now. So think about where we are, not only as individuals, but where we are as a country, how we got there, and about all these things that everybody puts in as number one in their lives, and see if your priorities are where you actually want them to be when you call yourself a patriot. To me, a patriot is not somebody that sits at home and watches sports on TV. A patriot is not somebody that thinks Facebook is the end-all, be-all of national patriotism just because they wrote something on their wall that sounded halfway intelligent. That's the extent of their ability to be productive in the patriot community and make a difference. Get real, get active, get busy. Stop letting the few carry the rest of you. Okay? Get proactive. All right, folks, this is Rule of Law Radio. The call-in number 512-646-1984. Give us a call. We will be right back on the other side of the break. Mike in Alabama, you hang on. I'll get you when we return. All right, folks, we are back. Rule of Law Radio, call-in number 512-646-1984. All right, right now we are going to talk to Mike in Alabama. Mike, what can we do for you? Mike? I'm not hearing Mike. All right. Well, looks like Mike's not picking up, so call screener, if you would, please check and see if you can get Mike on the line and let me know when he is back. Anybody else want to call in? Again, 512-646-1984. Okay. Now, while we're waiting on callers, I'll continue on with a little bit from what we were going over in class. Now, part of what we went over in class yesterday was I'm developing new scripts for other parts of these procedures. I'm developing a script for the initial appearance. That is when you go into the court or to see the clerk the first time after you get the citation. Things you say, things you do, a script for that. Then there's a script we're developing for the pretrial. And when I say we, I just mean me, myself, and I. I work as a group. I feel so much better when I have coworkers. That being said, of course, when we get this done on the script, it'll walk you through the step. And the thing I need people to understand about these scripts, especially those that have downloaded them and are using them, which is what Mike is calling in about, as I understand it. He used the script and he wants to report on the success or failure of it. I'm not sure which one yet. But in any case, when we do this, what we have to worry about is people not understanding that these scripts are not set in stone, okay? They are templates, basically. What I've written into them is generally how the situation plays out. They will generally say and do the things that I've got outlined in the script. That doesn't mean they will do everything in it. Doesn't mean they may even not do anything in it. I'm not the person that is actually present that's trying to complete this process. So you need to think accordingly and act accordingly. Okay? You need to make sure that you adapt the script to the situational variances that can occur. You need to be able to pay attention and listen to what is being said and done. Don't be thinking so hard about what you memorize from the script that you miss something important that was just said or could be used to your advantage or anything at all like that, or something that needs to be addressed and rebutted. Don't get so focused on memorizing the script that you miss the important things that are happening right in front of you. Pay attention. The script is great to memorize the necessary steps. It is great to memorize. Now, the transportation script, that's the one that if you're going to memorize one, that one you want to memorize as much as possible, as verbatim as possible. Because there, you have to keep the situation on a specific track. The rest of them, they're kind of fluid in how they can be done and what your actual attempt to accomplish may be. Attempt of what you want to accomplish may be. But the point being that in the transportation script, it is very important to set the bedrock for what everything else is you're going to be doing. And the very first and most important thing out of that script is to protect your rights. So if you're going to memorize one, memorize that one. The rest of them, practice, 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 but don't try to commit them to memory. They are fluid. As Bruce Lee says, be water. He says water can flow, water can crash. It forms itself to anything it's poured into. It takes the shape of the vessel it's in. Water has power. Water has impact. Imagine you pour water into a glass, okay? Or into a jar with a lid. In its current state, the water fits perfectly within the jar. It's not going to harm the jar. It's not going to damage the jar in any way. But you take that same jar and that same water and you put it in the freezer and you freeze it. What's going to happen to that glass jar? The water will change form, the water will exert force, and the water will destroy the jar. So take that lesson and adapt it to what you use for these scripts. You have to be just as adaptable as water. But you have to be able to control what direction you flow. And you want them to follow your flow, not the other way around. On the times when you have to take the path that they've laid out for us to follow, you can still make that path your own, and you can still make it to your advantage and lay the traps you need on the way to make that path work better for you than it does for them. And that, people, is the whole premise of what I teach in these classes. Everything I do in these classes is geared at teaching you how to recognize what is going on, what to do about it, and how to turn it to your own advantage. I'm trying to make you a trial lawyer. I know, it's insulting, but it's got to be done. Let me see if Mike has made it back to the board yet. Mike, are you there? Mike. I got a little bit of sound out of it this time, but I still can't hear anybody talking other than what sounds like a TV in the background. Mike, one last call out for Mike. All right, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Okay. The call screener says he's there, but I can't seem to ever get him to answer when I get on there. But in any case, while we're waiting for that, somebody else give us a call, 512-646-1984. I want some lively discussion on everything I've said so far, both in the first segment and in this one. I want to know if you're using the script. I want to know if you're going to come to the class. I want to know if you've been in class, if you've learned anything. I want to know if it's helped you at all and you're practicing and you're learning anything. Everybody that teaches wants feedback from the students to know if the student's learning. It's the only way the teacher knows how to improve what they do to improve what the student gets. So let me know. Mike, are you there? All right. Well, I'm going to leave it off at that, and he'll either have to drop off and call back in or something, and I'll have to know that he's done that because I'm not going to pick it back up just to get dead air out of it or TV. All right, folks, come on, give me a call. Otherwise, you got a long night ahead of you listening to me do this the whole time. I can do it, but I'm not sure you all are going to want to listen to it. Now, if you haven't done so, if you are on Facebook and you haven't looked me up on Facebook, look up Tao Law, Tao space LAW. Send me a friend request. I have a like page out there also, Tao of Law. All three separate words, okay? Go there, take a look at it. See if what you like on the postings on both on my wall and what's on the like page. If you do, then follow me on the Facebook until we get the Tao of Law website up and running. Once we do get that website up and running, then what we're going to do is basically get off of Facebook to the most part, and we're going to have our own social networking set up on Tao of Law. So we'll be able to do the same things there, basically, that you do on Facebook without the political censorship. Now, I'm not sure I want a full-blown Facebook, but hey, you know, whatever the tools the people want to make it into for themselves, as long as it doesn't involve child pornography or threats upon other people as far as their life and property, oh well, you know, that's what being free is about, the ability to express your self within certain realms of reason, of course. That being said, call in number 512-646-1984. This is the Rule of Law Radio Monday Night Traffic Show. I am your host, Eddie Craig. Give us a call, and we will see you on the other side of this break. All right, folks, we are back. Rule of Law Radio. Okay, we are going to try one more time here to pick up Mike. Mike, can you hear me? Hello, Mike. Hello. I can hear him moving around on the keyboard. I can hear all that stuff, but I cannot hear Mike. Okay. Not sure how this is working or what's going on with it. But in any case, I can't troubleshoot it in the position that I'm in. So that being said, we're still waiting for other callers to come up on the caller board. I do know there's one that popped up that's probably being screened right now, so as soon as they're back, I'll take that. But in the meantime, we really, really need you folks, that especially the ones in Austin, get involved, come to the classes. Okay? We really need a mix of people so that we can get the interactivity level up. We need people that can play the different parts. You need to learn how to play a prosecutor as well as a defendant. You need to know how to play a judge so you'll know exactly the kind of crap the judge pulls. You need to be there to learn how to respond to those situations when they crop up. You're not going to know until you practice. I've also got a thing going on with them that when they're going through the script intentionally omits particular things in relation to what can be said or done during your cross or direct examinations. And the reason for that is so that you have to learn to think about the answers that you get from the questions you've already posed. See, the purpose of asking questions is to see what information you can get the witness to divulge that will give you more information to build on. and also turn the case in the direction you need and want it to go. I refer to these as Christmas gifts. The size of the gift is directly relevant to the circumstances surrounding the response that is given, especially when you've already used the transportation script during a traffic stop, and you've got a copy of the video, and during cross-examination, you know for a fact that the officer is lying in response to one or more of your questions. And how to use the combination of all of that information to impeach that officer as a witness and possibly even get him charged with aggravated perjury in the process. But at the same time, it requires that you learn how to listen to what you're hearing him testify to so you can use it. Practice, practice, practice. So come on down and practice. Okay? Right now, we have Donna in Georgia up on the board. I'm going to go there, and when I'm done with her, I will try one more time to try and get on with Mike. Donna, what can we do for you? Hello? Okay, something is definitely up with the caller board because I can't get anybody when I take the call. Okay, well, I guess on the next break I'll have to worry about troubleshooting that. In fact, if we could, I'll go ahead and start dealing with that on the next break and see what we can do about it. But right now, I'm sorry, callers. I've got you on the board, and I can't hear you if you're hearing me, or if you're not hearing me. I don't know what the cause is. So we'll figure that one out on the other side. Anyway, when we go through the scripts in these classes, we start with the regular cross-examination portion because that's where most people are going to have to try to make the most of their case. The script you will need before that, however, you're going to need a script for your jury voir dire. You're going to need a script for your opening statement. You're going to need a script for what you say and do when the prosecutor is doing their initial line of questioning, what they call direct examination, okay? And you're going to need to know what to say and do at all of those points. So again, that takes practice. The script will guide you, but it is not a set of train rails, okay? You don't just put the train on it, turn on the power, and watch it go that direction. You're going to have to pay attention, and you're going to have to know when you're coming up on a bypass switch, a track switch, just anything. And you have to know how to flip it to get it to go which direction you want it to go. And that is what we need. We need people down there learning these skills and making them useful. The attorney that I do work for, he has agreed to come down one of these weekends as soon as we can schedule something for that. He's going to actually come down and play the part of prosecutor and or defense in these matters. He is a good trial attorney. He has made numerous court appearances in his career, so you will get to see an actual professional arguer go up against me, one side or the other. And he's going to have to learn how to play both parts just like the rest of you are, because he does civil, he doesn't do criminal, but at least he has the advantage of recognizing when a question can't be asked, whether or not the question should be admitted, and so on and so forth. It will definitely give you a more realistic view of how things will work. So as soon as we can get a date set for that, I'll be sure and announce it on the show and let folks know that's what's going on. But in the meantime, we are all we've got. And the fewer of us that are in there, the fewer of us there are learning these necessary skills. And when I say necessary, just wait. The more money-starved these people get, the more they're going to kick up the attitude of write the tickets now, worry about convictions later. And when they do that, you're going to start crying that, I wished I'd have done something sooner. I wished I knew better how to handle this. I wished I knew what to do next. I wished I knew what to say. I wished I knew what to write. Guess what? I'm giving you the opportunity to do that before the problem comes up. Okay? It's really that simple. Be the Boy Scout. Be prepared. Proactive rather than reactive. Okay? We need to stop being reactive. Everything in America is being reactive right now. And that just isn't going to work. Not by a long shot. All right? That being said, we need people to get busy. What are you guys going to do when I get the website launched and we have all these tools to make all these things about, being able to organize, being able to communicate, being able to set up meetings, to host meetings, to conduct classes, and nobody shows up? What good are all these tools without somebody wielding them, putting them through their paces, making them work? Can anybody tell me? Because if we don't do it, then the schemes stay where they are. The money keeps going out from us and into them, and they don't deserve it. Isn't there supposed to be a rule that one should never profit from their crimes? Yet the state, in its political sense of the corporate entity and those engaged in its activities, has an ongoing criminal monopoly on these things, and we just let them keep going. We've turned them into the damn Energizer Bunny, okay? And all we have to do, folks, is reach up and pull the dad blame battery. And we can't even get enough people together to decide how to do that. It's disgusting. That being said, we're about to take another break. I am going to see what I can do about the caller page issue in the short amount of time we've got coming up. Y'all hang in there, 512-646-1984, and we will be right back. All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. All right, let me see if anything different has occurred. Donna in Georgia, are you there? Hello, Donna. Can you hear me? Okay, so far we don't have a fix. So we'll just have to keep waiting and see what happens after that. Okay. Well, rants and raves, that's my way to go, I guess. Now, let's look at some of the things that goes on in the transportation stop that I'm hoping that most people will understand need to be watched carefully. And that is how the officer starts to behave. Now, one of the things you need to understand about the script is not intended, okay, not intended that anyone push it to the point of getting injured or anything worse than injured, okay? You have to decide when enough is enough as far as how far you're going to push what they do. But remember that everything you do to protect your rights, when it finally comes to the point where the officer is about to do something that could seriously jeopardize your welfare, then you need to just make sure that you understand to qualify that your next action with the fact that, officer, I am in fear for my life that you are about to use excessive force against me in a manner that will harm, injure, or kill me. That is the only reason that I am complying with what you want. Now, again, I don't recommend you give them anything, but I am not on the scene. You are. This is about learning to think for yourself. It's your rights as well as your life and property that are at issue here. You take that as seriously in whatever direction you need to at the time. No outsider has the right, or the ability for that matter, to sit there and tell you the right way, the wrong way, when, or anything else when they're not in your shoes. Too many liberals do that right now. I'm not going to do that. The script, as far as the transportation, has a purpose, but its purpose is not to get you hurt. So please keep that in mind. Now, we'll try this one more time. I keep getting told it ought to be working. Donna in Georgia, are you there?
Yes.
I've got voice.
Hey, let me turn this one down.
All right. Anybody else that's been on the caller board and had to get off because I couldn't hear you or you me, call back in now. Things seem to be a little more copacetic. All right, Donna, what can we do for you?
All right. Well, I filed the FOIA for all of the dash cams and audios from all of the vehicles involved, for all of the transactions between dispatch and officers, all of the field notes, as well as electronic communications. And I got back one set of discs from one patrol car. The first officer who initiated the stop, who I ran through the script with and did question number 1, and I did A, B, and C with him, and he affirmed, yes, it's being recorded, yes, it's on, and yes, it's working to the best of my knowledge. The lady at the desk said that they told her at the station that his car did not have a dash cam and that he did not turn on his lapel microphone and that there was no recording from him at all of the incident.
Well, that sounds a tad bit suspicious.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Didn't provide anything of all the other stuff I asked. Anyway, something about you'll have to call 911 for the dispatch stuff. Yeah, right. Anyway, what I did get from the second vehicle was facing off to the side. There's nothing on the cam, the video of the incident at all. There's just the audio, the second half, basically, of the incident. And this was the one that escalated it to the drug DUI. And I've listened to it, and even though it's only partial, I still think I have enough evidence from that one audio to show where my civil rights were violated, where I was punished by his escalating it to a drug DUI.
Okay, let me make a real quick correction to you here.
Uh-huh.
You don't have civil rights.
Oh.
You are not a slave. You never were, at least not in real theory here. Okay?
Okay.
Civil rights is what the 14th Amendment granted to the freed slaves.
Right.
You have inherent unalienable rights.
Inherent unalienable.
They are not constitutional rights.
Right.
It didn't give them to you. They are not civil rights. Government didn't give them to you, nor did society in general.
Gosh, you know what? You know where that came from? I spent some time this week reading Section 1983, Title 42.
Yes.
And that's their language.
Exactly.
I temporarily got brainwashed or reconditioned.
Yeah, always remember that. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is to hook you into their terminology.
Right. So when I write a complaint, if I choose to pursue this to in the district court, am I going to use my language or theirs?
You can use your language. They will attempt to construe it as theirs, but that's their construction, not yours.
Are they going to attempt to throw it out because I don't use their language?
Well, that's hard to say.
Because they gave Cornell, some law website where they gave a very narrow, limited description of what you could press charges for. and against an officer for police misconduct or whatever. And that was their language.
Does the state or federal constitution refer to them as civil rights? If they actually existed, do they refer to them as civil rights?
Do they?
Not that I'm aware of. Both of them say exactly what I said.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All rights, all political power is inherent in the people, as are all rights inherent in the people.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And the Constitution, the federal one, specifically says they're unalienable rights.
Right. Okay. So, one of the things just on a side note here, I forgot to mention that I was not in commerce. Has anybody ever tried putting a bumper sticker? Of course, it would have had to have been on the video.
Well, they didn't used to have them on bumper stickers. They used to have them written in big letters down the side of the cars and the trucks, not for hire.
Ah.
But now those are generally on farm vehicles. They weren't expected to be on everybody's car.
Yeah.
They used them on automobiles and trucks they used on farms, and that's why they didn't have to register them. That's why they didn't even have to have plates on them of any kind, was because they were specifically lettered not for hire. Therefore, it was known they were not engaged in commerce.
Huh. How about that? Okay. So I was wondering if you could opine briefly about a typical complaint, a draft of a complaint.
You mean for a suit or a criminal complaint?
The suit for the violation of my right to remain silent, to refuse to waive my rights. That was really the thing that started his ball rolling, was when I refused to waive any of my rights.
Yeah.
And he kept repeating, "You're not under arrest. Why do you think you're under arrest?" And that's where he really lost it with that.
So your rights only apply when you're under arrest, according to this guy?
Exactly.
So he's free to rob you just because he's not arresting you?
Right.
He's free to assault you just because he's not arresting you?
Right.
See, these are the kinds of questions you can ask this officer about his perceptions of reality once you have him on the stand in this suit.
Uh-huh.
In this video, you keep saying that I'm not under arrest. So is it your perception of my rights that the only time I can invoke them is if you are attempting to arrest me? Does that mean that I can't invoke my rights if you're trying to rob me but not arrest me? That you're trying to assault me but not arrest me? That's not going to look good for him to try to answer. This is what I'm referring to as the Christmas presents.
Ah, okay.
What they say can be used in your favor if you know how to take what comes out of their mouth and use it to your advantage. Treat it the same way you would treat one of your children that you know is lying to you about who stuck their face in the blueberry pie. Okay?
Okay.
It works the same way. Believe me, it does. But yeah, as far as what you can do in the complaint, you just need to basically outline as you would any other civil complaint in those. But where they're using their language, I would stick with the fundamental protected rights. You know, they're not civil rights.
Okay.
Not for us.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, now we are about to take another break. Crystal in Nevada, I see you there on the board, so hang on. I will get you on the other side. Mike, call back in, man. I hope I can hear you now if you do so. Y'all take care. We'll be right back on the other side of this break. All right, folks, we are back. Rule of Law Radio. All right, now we're going to go to Crystal in Nevada. Crystal, what can we do for you?
Well, I know you were talking about this last Monday, these red light camera citations they send you. It's kind of a presumptive thing. And I got one for my son who is in Portland, but his car is registered here. So I just got this weekend. And I wanted to know I wanted to just send him something that just says, I'm not going to deal with you. And because you were saying you don't deal with administrative, it's a municipal court, it's traffic code, and all of that.
Right. Well, if you want to send me an email, I can help you with that a little bit better. I've already got a preformed letter for beginning that process.
What they're asking for this, you just made a right turn without stopping first. But I wanted to, they want $260. I'd rather buy your course, even if it is in Texas.
Well, actually, the course is fairly adaptable. It pretty much, all the states pretty much run on the same statutory basis and format. Just the thing you have to look at is the different language assembly in some cases, though they are mostly very similar.
Okay.
Just the way they organize their codes and link them together and what they call them is usually what varies. But the actual writing of the statute itself is, very, very close in every state.
Okay, well, then I'd much rather you have the money than Portland.
Well, that's okay. In that case, so would I.
Yeah. All right, so if I email you...
if you'll email me, I'll be happy to tell you how to handle all that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, well, that's all the people we have on the caller board, so we could use some more again. Again, Mike, if you're still out there and you want to talk about what you did with the transportation script, please give us a call, 512-646-1984. I apologize for the earlier troubles with the listener line and the call-in line. And my ability to be heard by you when I tried to punch you up on the board here. But everybody that I didn't get to, please call back, okay? I don't have to spend the whole night ranting. I like having callers and questions to answer. But in the meantime, I don't at the moment, so I'm going to have to start this stuff all over again. Now, in each of these processes, there are certain steps they must take. The scripts are designed to walk you through each of those steps. But again, the script has to be somewhat flexible. There are certain things they absolutely have to do, and there are certain things that they can do in various ways. And because of that, that's where the script has to be adaptable. If they lead you on a cross-examination or a direct examination, they give you particular pieces of information, or during a process with a clerk, when you're trying to file documents and the clerk doesn't say or do the right thing that they're required to do, and so on and so forth, you must learn and practice what to say and do to put things back on the proper track. If you let them control what goes on, then they control you and your ability to defend your rights in every way. Yes, they have to do things a certain way. The question is their way the correct way according to law? In most places, the answer is no. They are doing what they want because it's the easiest way for them to do it, not because it's the way the law told them to do it. I have seen this in every court, every clerk, time and time and time again. Well, that's the way we do it here. Well, unfortunately, the way you do it here violates 15 different code sections and my right of due process. So either fix it or drop the case, because I'm not giving up my rights for your convenience. Remember, if you do nothing, you say nothing, you are consenting. It's that simple. If you don't belligerently protect your rights will be considered to have been waived by you. Whether you intended to do it or not will be completely irrelevant to the powers that be. Explicit requirements of verbalization by you are the course. Okay? What did I tell you the three things were, and everything that comes out of your mouth when it comes to the traffic stop and pretty much dealing with anyone in this process? Invoke, demand, protect. Invoke your rights, demand your rights be respected, protect your rights at all costs. Do not give them up just because someone else wants you to or is threatening to do you wrong if you won't. Now, you and I, in a common sense sort of world, would not see threats of duress, armed individuals, and being told we're going to get thrown in jail for contempt and all this stuff. We would see that as being coerced to comply. But the system is self-protecting. It will find every possible way to say, well, he only threatened you 3 times, and he never actually removed the gun from the holster, and he never actually fired the taser he had pointed at your face. Therefore, you were not coerced. No harm was done, so you could not have possibly been coerced. That is how the system plays the game, and you need to learn that. And you need to take action on what to do about it. All right, looks like Mike managed to get back up on the board. Let's see if he can hear me. Mike, are you there?
Yes, sir, Eddie. I can hear you fine.
All right, let's get this show on the road.
I just wanted to say thank you very much. I stumbled upon you. I can't remember where, but I've been following your teachings, and I think I executed your script pretty good in the traffic. I was pulled over with expired tags, of course, and the officer came up to the window. I think I did your script by the book. In fact, I sent it to you on your Facebook page, the Tao of Law Facebook page.
Yeah, I've got your message and everything on. I just haven't had time to listen to the recording you made.
Yeah, it starts right at the beginning with the officer going, and they're so programmed, too. They're saying, license, insurance, and registration. That's all he kept on saying. I mean, he wouldn't listen to anything I said. And then after I was going through the script, he just kept on saying license, insurance, and registration, like he's just programmed. I mean, he didn't respond except that way. So after about 5 minutes of that, he goes back to his car. 20 minutes later, he comes back after 3 other police cars arrive. So now there's 6 officers there. And he comes back up and he says the same thing, license, insurance, registration. And I continued to tell him that. I said, and it's all on tape, and I said, officer, I said, I never said I wasn't going to give you license, insurance, registration. I said I was going to give you identifiable information if you can acknowledge the fact that I'm not transporting in commerce, that I'm traveling on my vessel from one destination.
Wait. You're what? On your what?
I'm traveling.
On your what?
On my vessel.
You're in a boat?
No, but I'm calling my vehicle, or their definition of motor vehicle, my vessel.
You realize vessel is one of their commercial terms, do you not?
No, I don't. I didn't.
Well, now you do. It's a car. It's an automobile.
But I thought...
It's a conveyance.
They don't specify it in the Alabama statutes at all, in the motor vehicle section.
Yeah, they do. It's either a vehicle or a motor vehicle.
Yeah, they say that, but they don't say anything about vessel in there.
But vessel applies to something else, but it's still one of their commercial terms. Okay? A vessel is a boat or something used to carry in something else within it. That's a vessel.
So I will say conveyance in the future.
There you go.
And I guess it did catch me a little bit, but in the script you can hear it loud and clear. That's one of the mistakes I've made. I'm sure there probably were more, but at the end of the day, after 6 cop cars, them actually arresting me. They actually arrested me, and it shows in there that they're arresting me. And when I ask them what the charge is for disobeying a police officer, I'm not out of the vehicle. I got the doors locked.
You're not out of what?
And I wasn't out of the vehicle.
You weren't out of the what?
I wasn't out of my conveyance.
There you go.
And so he said I was under arrest for disobeying a police officer. And so at that point I got out, and that's when they obtained my license. But I walked away with just a ticket. It was a bogus ticket. He gave me a ticket specifying the statute 32-6-132. And in that statute, it specifically has nothing to do with the license plate. As far as the license plate goes, it's with a different division under National Guard and distinguishable customized plates. But it has nothing to do with the transfer because it wasn't the right tag for the car either. And I bought the car like 4 years ago. So I walked away from there with some bogus thing that he put on there that wasn't even applicable to the situation.
Okay, so then how do you think they're going to try to prove it?
They couldn't. There's no way for them to prove it because I've got the statutes. And in addition to that, I feel...
Well, they have the statutes too. So what I'm asking you is, at trial, are they going to try to prove this?
Under their jurisdiction.
What?
I'm going to write them a letter and point out...
Nah, stop. We don't write letters. Letters don't do you any good at all, ever.
Well,
okay.
Respond to I thought you said if you respond to the court...
This is not an administrative ticket, is it? It's not a red light camera ticket. It's not a speed camera ticket, right?
No, it is not.
Okay, this one's actually issued by some trooper in Alabama, and in Alabama they treat these as misdemeanor crimes.
Okay.
So this will be an actual judicial court, even though it's not supposed to be. That's what they're going to try to tell you it is.
Right, it's a municipal court.
Okay.
Montgomery.
So we don't write letters. We write pleadings that consist of motions, briefs, notices, affidavits, and whatever else is allowed, demurs, anything like that, that goes into whatever your particular state allows in the process. Okay? So if you don't know how to do that, then you're already behind the 8 ball on what to do with this.
Well, I guess I got a lot of learning in a very...
Well, everybody does. The scripts are great for teaching you how to protect your rights, but the seminar material and learning on your own to read the rules of the game is what's going to teach you how to protect them down the road once you've invoked them.
Okay. Well, I felt like I've got a Title 42 against them, and I feel like that they should be...
If you can show their reaction is based upon the intent of violating your rights and the harm that was caused came from that, then yes, you do.
Well, that's why I felt that the script was important.
Yeah, the script, as long as you followed it, it will have protected your rights if you didn't say or do anything outside of what it gave you. Hang on just a minute, Mike. We'll finish this up on the other side. Folks, call in number 512-646-1984. Mike's my only caller. I need more. Let's go, folks. All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. All right, we are going to finish up with Mike. All right, Mike, continue on.
Well, I just wanted to say that, after researching it, I feel like it's a bogus ticket. I feel like in the pleadings, I always thought that I wasn't even in their jurisdiction because if I'm not acting in commerce, I'm obviously not in jurisdiction. He had no authority as far as pulling me over because I had done that.
Well, that would be correct. The question is, though, is how do you make that case and preserve it for an appeal? And that right there, folks, is what the traffic seminar material is all about, showing you what the legal arguments are relating to commerce, what paperwork that I've pre-written for that specific preservation of the argument that's in the material for you to do that, plus the book that teaches you how to learn and understand statute to begin with. And now, understand one thing. We don't use the statute for the purpose of addressing the merits of a case. We don't go to the ticket. We don't go to the issue of the ticket. We don't go to the charge. We don't go to the accoutrements. We don't go to the motor vehicle. We don't go to any of that. We concentrate on the due process violations and the lack of jurisdiction. That's it.
Yeah, jurisdiction. That's what I thought. That's why I said I felt like it was out of their jurisdiction.
Again, the assertion versus making the proper argument to make that reality. Two different things. Asserting it without a legal foundation on which to base it will get you railroaded just like always, with no chance of winning on the appeal. Whereas if you do it correctly, even though you're going to get railroaded at the trial court, the appeals court is going to have a much harder time running roughshod over your case.
Right. Okay. Well, at what point do I do the Title 42?
That comes after you beat them out in the state court for the actual charges against you.
Okay, because they say, almost 99.99% of anybody that goes to municipal court is automatically found guilty no matter what you say or do.
Well, that part's usually true, but that's because people go in there with more patronage stuff than law stuff.
Right. Okay, well, I'm glad I got some direction from you. I do look forward to some feedback on the execution of the script that you do here on the...
Okay, well, great. As soon as I'm able to listen to it, I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Thanks for calling in, Mike.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, now we're going to go to Robert in Texas. Robert, what can we do for you?
Hello, Mr. Eddie. It's me, Robert from Texas. I'm calling you on the side of the road just outside of Amarillo, Texas.
All right.
Well, listen, I sent you an email. This is about my speeding ticket that I'm fighting in Randall County, but I already filed the special appearance motion to dismiss, declination to a plea, and I've already filed the motion to recall warrant because they sent me a warrant, possible warrant card. And I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, and then you got a letter saying this matter's been scheduled for trial.
Exactly. You read my mind.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the letter says something along the lines of, if you have any pretrial motions, please get them filed in as soon as possible, while they have absolutely ignored the motions you've already filed.
Exactly. So I guess my question is, do I just refile my motions?
Well, no, there's no need to refile them.
Yeah.
What you need to do is write an affidavit. Okay, remember, everything we do is in writing. Everything that happens becomes a part of the record when we put it into writing via affidavit. Attach copies of the what we're writing the affidavit about and file it into the court record. So create an affidavit stating the exact facts. Filed pretrial motions on such and such date and such time, and see a stamped file marked page of, and then put a copy of just the file stamped page as an attachment, and label each one separately. Attachment A for the first motion, attachment B for the notice, attachment C for the affidavit, whatever, okay?
Yeah.
Then you take the letter and make that its own attachment, a copy of it, not the original, the copy.
They sent me two copies, one certified and one uncertified.
Well, make a copy of the certified one.
Okay.
All right. And state in the affidavit, there is no official court signature by a magistrate. There is no official court seal. There is no initial or official filing stamp on the letter. The letter does not conform to the requirements of a subpoena under Chapter 23 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. And the letter makes reference to motions already filed in the case with the intent of or appearance that they are being ignored.
Yeah.
Then get that notarized, go file it.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you look at that letter they sent, it hasn't none of the requirements for anything. I mean, even the only person who signed on that letter was the court, the clerk of the court.
Exactly. There's no magistrate signature. There's nothing that makes it a valid subpoena in Texas law. They're basically bringing you in on a form letter, which has no force and effect of law. And then they will issue a warrant for failure to appear, even though you were not properly summoned.
Yeah, and it's a Class C misdemeanor. You can't do that. Can you issue a warrant for no appearance on a...
No. Two different things. They can't issue a warrant for failure to appear on the citation if it's a Class C, but they can on an actual summons. The problem is they haven't issued a summons.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't had a hearing or anything. Well, because, I filed my motions and they just basically ignored them instead of saying yes or no or whatever,
Right, and that's what you're going to put in the affidavit. The motions that have already been filed appear to be ignored pursuant the language of the letter, and on that you'll say reference sentence number, blah, 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 at such and such position on this page of the letter, and then basically make a copy of the language specific to the filing of pretrial motions and put it into your affidavit. But remember, your affidavit is just a statement of facts.
No opinions or anything like that.
Correct. No conclusions, no arguments. Simply straight up facts.
Okay. Because I'm really trying to get this, because I know it's important for everybody, not just me, because, but, I'm just learning.
Yeah, and that's what everybody needs to be doing is learning. I learn something new on this every time I go back and read something. It never stops. There is no end. It's always an improving process.
Okay. Well, hey, I had a question. How did I went back and listened to the archives when you went to that one case, and I can't remember the date of it, but how did that turn out? Is that the one that the judges have never acted on it, like after 180 days, or is that a different one?
Well, I don't know which show you listened to. As far as my personal case, yes. They're still sitting on it in the appeals court. County Court at Law, number 1, Judge Phillips, you lazy SOB, do your job, still has done nothing.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Hey, I had another quick question for you, because maybe when I was reading the law, I seem to remember that when police write a citation, like in an accident, and they didn't view, like, say, failure to control vehicle or speeding or something, if they didn't actually see that, they're not supposed to be writing a citation for that, are they?
That's correct. The Transportation Code in Chapter 543.001 specifically says a peace officer may arrest any person found committing a violation of this subtitle.
Yeah, because my son had an accident today. That's why I came to Amarillo, and this guy was writing a citation.
They can write the police report that says, in our opinion, the accident was caused by... But they cannot lawfully write a citation for something they themselves were not present to witness.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I said I brought it to his attention, but he didn't care, so I said, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the same reason why it says the officer can only arrest without warrant for an offense committed in his presence or view. Since he has to arrest you in order to write the citation, then he's acting illegally by making that arrest for an offense that never occurred in his presence or view.
Yeah, and, just by asking that one question, they called out, I don't know, about 6 or 8 officers out there to quash this troublemaker for asking a question. How dare I?
You rabble-rouser?
Yeah, I know. I'm a shameful man. I'm just, quoting the law and stuff. All right, well, Eddie, I guess I'll get off here, but look, I appreciate you. I'm going to send you an email, and I got another question, but I just want to get off here because I got to get back on the road, but I really appreciate you guys, and tell Debbie and Randy I said hi.
All right, Robert, thanks for calling in, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Let's see, we have... Oh, yeah, there's the break music. I thought it was about to be coming up. All right, Wesley, Leonard, Chris, I see you on the board. Y'all hang on. I will pick you up as soon as we get back off of this break. All right, folks, call in number 512-646-1984. We got a half an hour left. We got 3 callers. I'll see if I can get them all done and still have room for more. Let's rock. We'll be right back. All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. Okay, I am going to take Wesley in Texas. Wesley, what can we do for you?
Yes, sir. Well, I have a traffic ticket that I submitted some motions for: the special appearance, the waive of counsel, the declaration of plea, and then the affidavit for not engaged in commerce.
Uh-huh.
And then I got a motion hearing notice for which is actually tomorrow.
Okay.
So when I go in there and they call my name, should I move the court for a court of record?
If it is a court of record, just tell them, hey, is this a court of record?
Okay.
And if it is, then I move the court that all proceedings be on the record.
Okay. All right. When after the judge asks the state if they're ready to proceed and they answer yes, should I object to move for immediate dismissal under 45.018B?
He's not going to ask that at a pretrial.
Okay.
Not until at least the pretrial's concluded. Okay. But normally that's what they ask at the beginning of trial.
Okay. All right. Now, the other thing is when I went in and I submitted all these motions and affidavits, I had a cash bond I had, which they could find no record for.
Do you have your receipt?
Yes, I sure do.
Okay. Well, then tell them. Well, if you don't have yours, too bad. Want a copy of mine?
Okay, so how would I? So if they're telling me that they don't have a copy of it, how do I go about getting that cash back? When
you have a receipt for it, that's how.
Okay. All right. Well, then that's what I need. Well, I mean, because when I got the clerk to go back there and ask the head clerk of the county, they said you're going to have to ask the judge about that.
Well, again, the bank doesn't get to say, sorry, you'll never get your money, we lost it.
Right.
Neither does the court.
Okay. So, and then when I also submitted a public records motion to get that, and they told me that I have to wait for the judge to say that's okay.
No, they don't.
Okay.
A public information request is given to the person who's responsible for the records being requested. That person has 10 days. The judge has no authority to sit there and say, well, don't do it. If they do, you send a copy of the PIR and a formal complaint to the Attorney General's office against that court.
Okay. All right.
And you need to call down there and say, I'm sorry, I called the other day about my public information request, and you said that the judge had to determine whether or not he wanted to abide by it. So I need two things, your full name and the judge's full name, so I can put those in my criminal complaint to the Attorney General for violation of the Public Information and Records Act.
Okay. All right. Did not know that. Good to know. So with going into my motions hearing tomorrow and having those in there, having my motions filed in there, is there anything else that I should expect or be prepared for on what the judge will try to do, or maybe he might try to railroad me or something?
Well, they're going to railroad you if you don't do what you're supposed to do, which is bring up the subject matters of your motions, which are lack of jurisdiction based upon lack of notice, lack of transportation, lack of standing by the state, no evidence of anything other than lack of evidence by the state, and that's that. The court lacks jurisdiction. I haven't been served with a proper complaint and charging instrument one day prior to any proceeding in this matter. Have you?
No, I sure haven't.
There you go. Due process violation under 45.018B. Due process violation under 45.019F. Due process violation under 1.05. Due process violation under Article 1, Section 10. Texas Constitution.
All right. Okay. That's what I wanted to hear. All right. Well, thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. Thanks for calling in. All right. Now we're going to go to Chris in Texas. Chris, what can we do for you?
Hey, Eddie, I wanted to know, after they've dismissed a ticket, is that when you're able to sue them?
When did they dismiss it?
A couple of weeks ago.
No. At what point in the process is what I mean by when?
Oh,
in other words, did they file a sworn complaint?
I'd have to get the record to see if they...
Yes, you would.
Because we were in the discovery process when they dismissed it.
Okay, again, did they file a sworn complaint?
I can go find that out tomorrow.
That's first thing you need to find out. Did they file a charging instrument? If they filed that and moved forward, then you can make the argument that jeopardy attached. If jeopardy attached and they dismissed, not only can you sue for due process violations that they did along the way, you can sue for malicious prosecution. Anytime they dismiss a case or lose a case, okay, once jeopardy has attached, then you have grounds for malicious prosecution.
Okay, so jeopardy has to attach?
Yes.
Okay, and who do you sue if you if they've done all these things, who is it exactly you sue?
Well, let's see. What court was it in?
It was in Tarrant County Municipal Court.
Everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah. See, normally the state and the federal government will not allow you to sue a prosecuting attorney. Unfortunately for the city attorney, they have absolutely zero authority other than an illegal grant of usurpation by the courts to act as a state attorney. There's no authority in law that does not violate the Texas Constitution in that regard. Therefore, the city attorney cannot be protected as a state prosecutor. They will not have any immunity.
Yeah, this was definitely because she called him the city attorney.
Well, of course, that's the only one Texas law lets prosecute in a municipal court, which is exactly what turns them into cannon fodder.
Ah, didn't know that.
45.201 Code of Criminal Procedure and Chapter 30 of the Texas Government Code both say that all prosecutions in the municipal court shall be handled by the city attorney. Unfortunately, that violates Article 5, Section 21 of the Texas Constitution, which specifically states that the county attorney shall handle all cases in the courts at county or below in his county, if it's in the interest of the state. And if there is a district attorney, they will handle stuff in the district court. And if there is no district attorney, then the county attorney can prosecute there also. Nowhere does it ever mention a city attorney.
So does this include all 4 judges I've seen on that particular no driver's license?
If the court never had jurisdiction, neither did the judge. None of them did.
Okay, because I've seen 4 different judges on that particular ticket.
Yeah, well, the issue here to be made is I was never engaged in transportation, thus no regulable activity ever existed, thus state never had standing, and so these judges acted without any justiciable issue in their court, absent all jurisdiction, and thus committed crimes against me and my rights. So, they're liable.
All right. And did you file that in state court? Or
No.
federal?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure where it was supposed to be filed.
It'll be a Title 42 action, and yes, it is in federal court. But remember, it has to be set up correctly.
Well, that's, I'm sure, another issue on another time.
Well, you need something like jurisdictionary to teach you the best way to conduct a lawsuit, but that also means you have to study on the claims that you're making. Each of your causes of action against them also has specific elements you must prove as the one making the complaint. So you need to make the charges against them that you're suing for, which means you have to make the argument based upon all of the elements required to be proven at trial, just like they had to and didn't.
Right, like you're talking like the cause of action being, he pulled me over.
No, the cause of action is the violation of a protected right. Okay?
Basically the due process.
Like false arrest, false imprisonment, denial of a protected right, your right of liberty, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right, Chris, thanks for calling in. All right, folks, this is Rule of Law Radio. Call in number 512-646-1984. Greg, I see you there. Hang on. We'll get you when we get back. All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. Okay, now we have Greg in Texas on the line. Greg, what can we do for you?
Yeah, hi, Eddie. I had actually called you a few weeks ago, I guess, regarding Transportation Code 552.007.
Solicitation by pedestrians.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay.
And actually, this is my second, I guess, hearing that I'm going to on tomorrow.
Okay, what was the first one you went to?
Well, it was regarding this particular citation.
Yeah, but what occurred at it? I mean, did you just go in and file your paperwork at that one? Did you appear in front of anybody? What happened?
Well, actually, I refused to make a plea on the actual citation due to the purpose, I guess, is concerning a statute that was, I guess, considered to be invalid, I guess, and non-constitutional. As early as 1995, when they put it into, I guess on the books, I guess back in 1995, and this was from the Attorney General at the time. And I guess this particular city, they're using it, I guess, and
you actually have an AG's opinion that says that statute's unconstitutional?
Yes.
Okay. Do me a favor and email that to me just so I can put it into the information and records if you do.
Yes, I have a copy of the actual letter. It's a 7-page letter.
Okay, great. I'd love to see it.
And it's the way that the ticket was issued to me. The officer came to me 7 days later, and the date that he claimed that I engaged in this activity, I don't even think he was on duty on this day, and I'm still trying to figure out, I guess he's saying that he
Wait. He came and wrote you a ticket 7 days after the alleged offense.
Correct.
Oh, goody. How much of his house do you want to own?
And I know it's something criminal about it.
There's absolutely something criminal about it. If he does not make the arrest for a misdemeanor charge at the time the offense is being committed, and it's an offense for which he can make such an arrest, anything after that requires a warrant. Did he have one?
No, he approached me.
Then that's false imprisonment to arrest you for the purpose of issuing that citation.
Because, the way he did it, he approached me, and he asked me, I guess he was doing an investigation about this particular incident, and he wanted my input, and so he automatically turned around and said, well, I'm going to give you this citation, but the citation was filled out with all of my information on it. I never gave him an ID. He never asked me for an ID. And, he put on there, and I told him that I'm not signing that. And he wrote on the ticket I wasn't going to sign it, but the citation was completely filled out with all my information on it. I guess, I don't know where he got that from, all of my information. And then he, tried to hand me the citation. And I told him that, I wasn't going to accept it because I knew that there was completely something criminal about what he was doing.
Okay. So do you have a copy of the citation?
Yes, I went and requested a copy from the clerk of the court.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, in order to do what he did, that's a false arrest because he has to have a warrant. But in Texas, it's called false imprisonment. He has to have the warrant. If he does not make the warrantless arrest at the time the act is going on. Even in a felony case, they can't come back at a different time and make an arrest unless the individual is, the perpetrator is on the verge of escaping. They still have to go get a warrant, even if he's a bank robber.
Because, that's what he wrote the ticket for, was soliciting, I guess, employment, I guess, by a pedestrian. What
you should have done was look him right in the eye. Officer, are you attempting to solicit from me at this time? You're making an offer, and I'm not wishing to accept. Or you're asking for something from me. Are you soliciting?
But the court is actually treated as if it's something that's valid, everything, I guess, that this officer did is valid. Even the statute is valid, which I have proof that it's not valid.
Well, you did a special appearance and motion to dismiss that says that I want it dismissed based upon an AG's opinion of the unconstitutionality of the statute. I want to press criminal charges against the officer for false imprisonment, and I want to also press charges against the judge for acting without jurisdiction in this matter if you do anything other than dismiss.
And I video record, the incident, I guess, when he approached me, everything he said, I was video recording it.
Okay. Well, attach a copy of that to it.
And that was the first one. He came to me on another day and did the same exact thing for a different ticket. saying that I guess for 552.006, I guess crossing at a place other than a crosswalk. This is another ticket that he actually brought and delivered. I guess he didn't even write it out. It was already written out, and I guess he delivers tickets. I guess on.
Well, that's 005. 006 is use of sidewalk, but
I think 005. Yeah. Yeah, but it's kind of like he's coming, days later and delivering tickets, for.
Yeah, well, every single one of those is illegal. That is a separate illegal act each time he does that. If he's giving you 2 or 3 tickets, that's 2 or 3 criminal charges you have against that cop for false imprisonment. Because in Texas, they cannot issue one of those citations without placing you under arrest first.
Okay. Because I got to go back into this court again and look at the same judge because the first time around he didn't even acknowledge that I pretty much existed,
Yeah, look at Chapter 14. Look at 14.06 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, and it will show you exactly when an officer can issue a citation and under what conditions. But in each and every case, the arresting officer can only release the person arrested from custody if they will sign the promise to appear on the citation.
Okay. Which I never signed that citation that he gave to me, and I think he turned around and said, well, I'm going to turn it in anyway.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That doesn't negate his illegal act of seizing you in order to issue the ticket, whether you signed it or not. It also shows he's not aware of what his duty is under the law. Now, he has the option of releasing you without taking you before the magistrate, whether you sign the ticket or not. That's fine, but it still does not negate the fact he had to arrest you in order to give it to you in the first place.
Well, but he never did that. I mean, he walked up and, he casually trying to get information from me and told me that, well, he's going to hand me this, citation, and I refused it, and they're trying to treat it as if it's something valid that, what he did.
Yeah,
was
make sure you inform the court. I wish to press criminal charges against the officer.
For what?
I just told you, false imprisonment. Did he touch you at all?
No.
Ever?
No.
Okay. If he had even touched you at all, you've got aggravated assault.
Okay.
But in any case, it doesn't matter. The false imprisonment, the official oppression, abuse of official capacity, those are all charges that will stick.
So I guess then that I have to go in front of this judge tomorrow. That I just have to ask them to dismiss the case.
No, you don't ask them. You demand that they dismiss this case. I move the court to dismiss this case for lack of jurisdiction. Further, based upon the fact that this statute's already been declared unconstitutional, and I have an AG's opinion letter that says exactly that. And subsequent to that, Judge, I want to press criminal charges against the officer who is issuing these illegal citations to the public, including me. Okay?
Okay.
Knock them dead, Greg.
Yeah, I appreciate the information.
Not a problem. Now's the time to not be nice in a very nice way.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, yeah, I appreciate it, though.
Not a problem, man. Hang in there and get with them.
Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks, Eddie.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right.
All right, now we're going to try to get Bob in Texas in here. Bob, you got just barely 2 minutes.
Real quick one. What's the difference in signing electronic or a hard copy as it is designated in the code? I don't have the statute in front of me.
The electronic does not tell you what you're signing in advance. You're given no opportunity to read it, and you have no clue what they're going to stamp that electronic signature on. Don't give away your signature, ever.
Good deal. That's exactly the stance I took. So
You tell them, you want me to sign it, you print it out, and I'll sign the hard copy after I read and verify what I'm signing. But I won't sign a blank slate where you can put my name on anything.
I even begged them if they'd write it on a scrap piece of paper, I'd sign it. But anyway, thanks a lot for the info.
Yes, sir. Appreciate the call in. Folks, that is true no matter where you are. Do not sign the electronic device they put in front of you and say, please sign here. Because you have no clue what they're fixing to stick your signature on. Don't sign the electronic pad. I don't care if it's a cop on the side of the road calling it his ticket book. I don't care if it's a clerk of a court sitting there going, well, you gotta sign it or I can't do my job. Print the dad blame thing out and I will sign the hard copy. Okay? Don't put your signature on an electronic pad. They can do anything to the document that comes out on the other side bearing your signature. And they will. All right, folks, this has been Rule of Law Radio, Monday Night Traffic Show. I am your host, Eddie Craig. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you to the callers. Again, I apologize for our caller line troubles, but hopefully we've got that worked out for the future. Everybody, thank you for being here, for listening in. Good night, and God bless.